Hello, everybody, and welcome back to RCI Wednesdays, the MX5 Cup here on iRacing, entering the rubber round, the third round of the championship, live from Daytona Beach, the world center of speed, the Daytona International Superspeedway. Tonight, live action from the road course in the Mazda Cup Series. I'm Jesse Lee, joined by Dan Van Zutphen with Ash Bibby behind the cameras, bringing you all the pictures and accounts of tonight's two races. Qualifying well underway, half the session gone. Ryan Leach leading the group now. And Dan, completely different ball game, completely different animal from the first two rounds that were had at Navarra and Snetterton. This is a drafting racetrack first and foremost, and whoever gets the most tow could end up being on pole, and who's ever second or third coming to the line is likely going to be your winners at the end of these races too. How do you deal with that?
How do you deal with that? That's a very good question. I don't think you really, like we said last time, you really just anticipate on it. You never know what the other drivers are doing around you, how much slipstream they get. You're just trying to, get yourself in a good position and trying to do the best you can, and then in the race you also try to do the best you can and anticipate around the situation around you, which is going to be very difficult, especially in the race, because, well, we had some photo finishes, or one photo finish at Circuito de Navarra in round one, and I won't be surprised if we see two photo finishes here today, because as you said, slipstream is key in these Masters MX5, which almost have no dirty air at all. Not only the qualifying is going to be spectacular, the racing as well. How do you deal with it? You just anticipate on it, Jesse.
That's very well put, Dan. The qualifying is going to be incredible because we expect to see incredibly close times here. We don't really have that right now for the pole position. Leach has run a 209.507, ran that the previous lap that they just did. Everybody else is several tenths behind them, but that behind them, Barton Macha just goes P2 with a 209, and now Parrott's gone to the top at a 9.4, but everybody from third on back very close. It's an 8.5 to an 8.7 to a 9.0 to a 9.8. Sounds like I'm doing area codes for Southern California almost there a little bit, but, or not area codes, zip codes rather instead, but even though this qualifying session has ticked down 10 minutes, the cars are still trying to work it out. A lot of people not wanting to be the one that is drafted off of. Some, of course, trying to be the draftee, and this is exactly where you want to be if you're Parrott. Third in line, I wonder if this played any sort of role into them getting the provisional pole position. Being third in line, you're getting almost no air on that car. You're going to be going really fast.
Yeah, and I mean, you're trying to get in that spot, but as you said, Jesse, other drivers want to be in that spot as well, and I can't wonder if the guy ahead in a moment is going to break his lap off and try and see if he can catch the back of this train again, purely because, well, he wants to slipstream just as hard as these other guys, because Daytona is probably just a Monza but worse, because you have this huge banked back straight, you have a little bus stop at the end, and then another straight again. So Daytona is just slipstream. It's a slipstream race. It passed well with slipstream, and you can see how much time Parrott is gaining behind the driver in front of us. It's absolutely insane. And well, Parrott is going to make some profit of that. Right up ahead we can see a similar group of three cars, and he's going to overtake, or just bump draft probably. No, the other guy ahead is going out of the way. This almost reminds me a bit of cycling the Tour de France. Alright, you get the slipstream, you'll do some more work, and now I'll tuck back in. And
that's exactly what they're doing.
Yeah, that's exactly what they're doing, and it's probably working very well for Parrott. Can he improve on his time? He drove at 9.4. He drives not a better time. That's interesting, but you can already see P2 Rolf is only, well, what is it, 8 thousandths of a second behind him.
That is 8/1000ths of a second difference. That's nearly nothing in between the two of them. up at the top of this field, and it isn't really that far back. It's just another 9/1000ths back to third place with Leach. Now, this is more what we expected. There's still that gap between third and fourth with Mark Vart in the 24. But other than that, it's incredibly close. You see these little packs out there drafting. It may be a case of who gets the last lap in the third position if you got a team of 3 drivers. But they were absolutely switching off. They were definitely working together for those 2 cars. And I wonder if there's some cooperative driving going on with some of this group as well. Would not surprise me, to be completely honest. We're getting to the midway point, Dan, in the championship season. This is the wild card race thus far. The first 2 races were sort of a test of skill, your pace, of course, and on top of that, who had the right strategy, and in some cases, who pulled out a line at the right time. Some of those skills are going to be tested tonight, but on a night like tonight, Daytona Super Speedway, anything's possible. Anybody can win this race.
Yeah, indeed, you'll probably have more chance on the money lottery than this lottery, because it's for sure going to be insane. I almost want to bet that we will have a 4 wide moment going into the first corner in maybe race 1, maybe race 2. Who knows? We might have a photo finish that's 3 wide. Everything can happen here in Daytona, as you say, Jesse, and the drivers will probably, I think, because it's indeed a sort of wild card race, and you sort of damned if you do, damned if you don't, if you want to go aggressive or if you don't be aggressive, because you really have to. But at the same time, in a race like this, you really need to know how to position your car, and that comes with experience. If you're an experienced driver, I think you're going to benefit from this race a lot.
Well, a couple of things that some eagle-eyed drivers or eagle-eyed viewers may notice is that we're missing a driver or 2 tonight. This is the only track in this championship that isn't included with the base subscription package of iRacing. We're missing a couple cars, but that's not why we're missing Fabian Schmedberger tonight. Wasn't feeling it, potentially under the weather tonight. He's not going to get his car in action. He's joined us in the stands, though, and he's meowed at chat earlier on. I don't know if he's attempting to communicate with the locals, but he's taking the sponsorship really serious of some of the cars that were sponsored by Friskies, I believe, as well. We're speaking French in chat with Seb Brunier, Magnifique. Fantastic, wonderful. Good to have you guys with us tonight. Final few ticks on the clock to settle the score here in qualifying. It's gone Parrott's way over Roth, Leach, Mark Vart, Tom Bryan up to 5th place, Barmacha, Daly, Valek, Mead, Roche, the top 10, but it's too close to call, and the entire field only separated by a few seconds, and that will matter very little to not once we get going for the green flag. And I thought flying laps counted here in iRacing, but that apparently isn't what is happening here. That ended immediately at the end of that qualifying timer. So you will have Parrott on pole with a 2-minute 9.440, 8/1000ths quicker than Jaroslav Roth, the man we call Jersey, in P2. Leach and Marquardt the next row. Bryant, Macha, Daly, Valek, Mead, Roche, Dozal starts out the bottom half of the field, or right in the middle, I should say, with Raphael Huell, Conway, Edwards, Boss, Octane, Heilman, Sundstrom coming from deep in the pack, Roscom, Adamczyk, Dauber, Lawrence, and Filippi. Dan, from the second half of the field, from about 11th on, who are you looking at to come through tonight and maybe have a chance at victory?
Well, if I wasn't there the second round, but I was there the first round, and eyes were peeled on Benjamin Hellman and Sundstrom. Sundstrom had that incredible comeback race in race 1, I think it was, and Benjamin Hellman was in race 2. Very, very good. So I'm definitely watching an eye for those two. Coincidentally, they are P17 and P18, so they will probably work together here. Let's see who do we have more. Raphael Huell probably is a good shout at the win of as well. But we know the aggression of Jordan Daly. Mentioned it this Monday. Need to keep an eye on him as well. The British driver currently in P7 with a 2:09.903. And Jesse, the qualifying isn't really as close as I thought it would be.
No, it's really not. You can tell that there were different groups of cars out there. There wasn't a huge pack. I expected to have nearly half the field in a drafting pack out there in qualifying, and that really wasn't it. We saw 2 to 3 car groups. Some of them got it right, some of them got it wrong, and that was the difference. Folks, it's the same format tonight as it has been all season long. 2 30-minute races, 2 winners, and in both of the championship rounds, round 1 and 2, we've had one similarity in that there was a photo finish, a last lap pass, screw last lap, a pass on the start finish straight for the win in one of the races. We've had 4 so far. We'll have 2 more tonight. I think tonight is going to have exactly that. We're going to have more of the same. We did have some of the drivers talking to us pre-race tonight. One of them pictured on your screen right now. That is Kevin Boss. He came in to give us the skinny on what we might be able to expect tonight. And he said, look, drafting sometimes gets you out of control and loose. Bump drafting can go horribly wrong out of nowhere. Expect calamity. Could we see safety car tonight, Dan? I reckon we might.
Yeah, definitely. We maybe even 2, maybe even 3. We saw one at Circuito de Navarra, but I think we're already off, and there goes the leader with a very good start, and his teammate in P2 just over to P3. That happens when you are on the outside here in Daytona, and they are blast into turn 1, trying to avoid the calamity here that Daytona brings with itself. We have no contact yet with a lot of masters, 23 masters here. Everyone's going in smooth, and the top 3 is not really close to P1 and P2, but that will change on the straight here as everyone tries to pick up a place, lose positions, of course win positions, and we're all good so far, Jesse.
Looking pretty good for PSUK out in front. They are coming with a plan, and they've executed that plan thus far. Parrott and Leach out in front of the field. Roth and Bryant may be working together a little bit. We didn't really get a good look at Tom Bryant's livery, but you know, we don't normally comment negatively about people's liveries, but I will do on his case, and that car is hideous. My goodness, Ray Charles would scoff at that car. But PSUK out in front of the field looking nice, and if they can keep this kind of teamwork up all night long, they are going to be hard to beat in both of these races. The question will become later on, though, who takes the dub? Who takes the win in that case? We got a couple of SJ&H cars in the field, a couple of Race Ventura cars as well. Do they work together? Some nearly on pace aligned automobiles as well. I've also been told, actually Chance told me, that there isn't a Simradier devised setup on Mikael Sundstrom's car, and is that potentially the cause of them starting so far back in the field? Or maybe they see in the draft off the racetrack, goes to 28, goes a little bit too deep into the chicane. Oh, there's been a huge crash. Tom Bryant has wrecked his disgusting car, and I think he's done it with Jordan Daly.
Yeah, I think it is Jordan Daly, maybe already in the pits. We see the incident here. Oh, that's Jordan Daly probably losing control. Oh, and it's Tom Bryant getting pushed into the wall there. Jordan Daly doesn't seem to have any damage, so we will probably carry on in his Mazda MX5. But Tom Bryant got pushed into the wall.
Was he touched, or what? Did he just get loose here? Oh, that's so hard to tell.
Yes, it's so close.
Oh my goodness, if he did get touched, it was ever so slight. If he didn't, it was the same thing that happened to Daly, except that they corrected both different directions, and I'm going to borrow a line from the U's. That car's cooked.
That car is cooked indeed, but look, he's still driving it back on 3 wheels or less, and so he's probably going to try and repair the poor Mazda MX-5, but he's not going to get anything out of it.
The 19's in the pit lane as well.
Oh yeah, that's...
Or actually, it's the 29, in fact. It's not the 19. It has 19 painted on it.
It's indeed me there in P21 as the fight continues for P12. This is the current fight. This is a race replay. Oh, that's Mead. He spun out. He spun out. Oh!
Oh no, Martin Lawrence! He's in danger! Oh, and he really was! Two cars simultaneous, synchronized, spinning into turn one. Mead and Martin Lawrence, and Ralph Wiggum went for a wild ride right there.
That is very unlucky. Martin Lorenk will he will not have, he's going to. Oh yeah, that's just unlucky, and he's not. He of course
Who parked that car there?
Yeah, that's you can't park there, sir. But Mead already parked his car there, and he wasn't go. He couldn't get out of the way, and this is the battle for the lead, Jesse. This race is not going to be won in the corners. It's going to be won on the straights.
Sure is, and this is interesting. The PSUK cars have come out and they are made a statement. Look, we're going to work together. We're going to try and look at the damage already on the front of Ryan Leach's car. He's up out of the groove. Now that's interesting. Is there radiator damage to the 711 car? Because everybody is passing him, and that is very strange indeed. Has he pushed too hard on the back of Parrott, and has he damaged the radiator? Has he damaged the front of the car enough that he's losing that much pace? It is possible, and now the leader has changed. Parrott has been dethroned. It's Roth and Dozal out in front of the field. Something very wrong with Leach's car now. Parrott seems okay, but just ended up giving up the lead because Roth and Dozal drafted by him, and that's the difference. They were fine when PSUK was out in front together, but the second they were broken up, Roth and Dozal, they came together to team up and take the top two spots. That second place car right now, Dozal, I want to drink a nice, refreshing tea beverage now after looking at the livery on that thing.
Lovely green Arizona, which would be very nice. This is not sponsored, by the way. Hashtag no ad here on Racing Club International.
Not yet.
Not yet. Not yet. We also have a Peppa Pig livery. Yes, indeed. That's very creative liveries here today in the third round of the Mazda MX5 Championship. Of course, we have the beautiful Miausta Whiskers livery of Roth. He's been there from the start, and it's a treat to see Roth not only driving, but his livery driving his beautiful Mazda MX5 as well. We have Bart Macha also in a beautiful red and light blue livery. Lovely stuff. Seems only almost artwork. But back to the racing, we have 24 minutes to go. We have had some chaos here at Daytona, and you can see everyone there in the top three, slipstreaming, bump drafting each other. You have to be insanely careful at the bus stop chicane if you brake too late or you brake too early, and you stand for surprises suddenly for the guy in front of you or for the guy behind you, that you may find yourself in a collision. There's a car on the outside, that is Valek, and he's trying to get the toe.
Look at the bump draft!
They're going to bump draft each other, and Roth loses the lead.
Oh, he's gonna get turned! I knew he's gonna get turned! Oh, that's a crushed Arizona can in the outside wall. That won't be enough to bring out the safety car, but Dozal goes from the lead to pit lane, and another move there. Bart Macha pushing Peppa Pig. Valek in the 770 nearly goes wrong again, but it doesn't, and it looks like Macha a little bit more aggressive on the brakes, but stays off of Valek, and more importantly, keeps the car under control. The balance of the five looking pretty good. Valek will lead them down into turn one. Naturally, he is something of an expert.
Yeah, he is, and he might find himself in this position at the end of the race again. See if the lead can change anymore. Of course it will. We have 22 minutes to go, and they're driving at Daytona. Of course it will. We have Bart Macha here in second place. Is he going to overtake Valek in the corners? Of course not, because he wants to overtake Valek on the straights. This is going to repeat and repeat and repeat until the flag has fallen here at Daytona. And you can look behind. The group behind is closing up a bit as well, and that's just the effect of the slipstream here. We've talked about field spreading before.
Run, Peppa!
Run, Peppa Pig. He's going to run, indeed, but it's probably not going to be enough.
Well, there's been a lot of drama so far into tonight's race already. Jordan Daly went for a spin. I don't think they caught anything. They just ended up losing all that track position, and they're at the back of a train. They're actually drafting with Mikhail Sundstrom right now, 17th and 18th place. But for critical damage, we've got Dozal most recently, but before that, we had Tom Bryant and Meade and Martin Lawrence. Keep in mind, race number 2, they won't revert back to qualifying. It's going to be another crash into the bus stop chicane, and it's gone really wrong here. Huell goes around, Roche goes around, Mark through the infield as everybody else cycles through. And that was Ted Edwards and Luca Filippi getting their way through, and now Billy Octane and Heilman all looking for ways around to get inside the top 10. Fabian Schmidberger's brought up that he reckons a lap or so ago something happened to Heilman and Conway because they had lost a few positions, and that's just getting it a little bit wrong. South Park car going around. He really hates you guys.
He really does, and that's the chaos that can be unfolded here at Daytona. I talked about it before in this race. If you brake a tiny bit too much or a tiny bit too late, then you could catch your opponent out and you'll have an incident such as this one. Luckily, they didn't collect anyone, because that could have been, they were parked really right at the apex of that corner, but everyone seemed to avoid them. But this is going to happen more probably. Jordan Daly had that incident earlier on. He's now getting attacked by P18 Adam Cheek. He's going to try and take the position of Jordan Daly, but they should work together here. Sundstrom 0.9 seconds of Russia 2 seconds of Roskam, which means he is not in the slipstream. They should push each other to Roskam, try to get that P14 spot back and catch the other train for probably even P9, P8, P7. Yes, the train goes all the way up to P6, so slipstreaming again is key. You really need to know how to work together here at Daytona.
You really do, and while that was going on, Bart Macha has been dethroned. They're actually back to P4. You've got Parrott back to the lead for PS UK, and they're being bump drafted by Peppa Pig Valak in the 770. You've got Roth, Jersey in third place right behind them in the Miazda, and then you have Bart Macha there in that group, and 3 seconds, 2.5 seconds, I should say, behind them is Ryan Leach coming through the bus stop chicane there, and there's a bit of a gap. Ted Edwards in no man's land, if you will, or Ryan Leach also. Well, actually, no, Ryan Leach is in no man's land in the John Dalton zone, as we call it. Ted Edwards fighting with Raphael Huell and Filippi and Boss and Dauber and basically everybody. But this is the fight up at the front of the field. Valley getting a push from Roth out to the outside. You got to be careful whenever the bumpers start to misalign or move like this. This is where you get in trouble for turning somebody, but they're making it work. Valley goes to the lead, and it looks like it's going to be Roth in second. Harry Conway's had an incident. Luca Filippi's involved. Raphael Huell is involved. All those cars falling out of contention for the top 10. Something dramatic has occurred on the front straight. They're 3 wide. Somebody wasn't clear. The 21 up into the 9. Harry Conway takes to the infield to try and get away from it. Somebody's spare tire rolling through the infield. What happened here? I just think a car was, there was no time or way to block there. Was that Huell in the 21? In fact, that tried to block a move, but the car was already in the hole there.
There was a misjudgment of space here. This is Filippi. Yeah, I think that's Hull indeed. Filippi nowhere to go there. Hull just not knowing that Filippi is there. And that's a
oh my goodness! Up and over Luca Filippi!
That master has seen some stuff. He probably doesn't want to get back into race 2 now. He has PTSD from that roll. So this is exactly what can happen here at Daytona International Speedway. It's a NASCAR track. It's a bump drafting track. Of course, these things are waiting to happen.
I mean, they are allowed to bump draft, but sometimes it has gone incredibly wrong. So let's reset you again. Luca Filippi appears to be, no, that can't be right. The timing and scoring has got to be messed up. Raphael Huell and Luca Filippi are not at the top of this field, I promise you. It's Valak and Roth in front of Parrott and Macha, Leach, Dauber, Heilman, Boss inside the top 10. Ted Edwards, I think, now is inside the top 10 with Billy Octane as well. I think that completes your top 10 for the time being. And meanwhile, here it is, the fight for the lead. The 141 of Parrott on the back of Valek. Now here comes Roth on the back of, or Macha on the back of Roth. And they're going to sort it out. To the high side goes the 770, a three-car train on the outside. And I don't know if the 770 really wanted to get bump drafted by the 141 right there, but it's going to get bump drafted anyway by Jersey into turn number 1.
You have to really be careful with your straight line speed into that corner. Oh, he goes wide, will he lose control? Just a big oversteer moment, but he saved it. And now, of course, the Miausta is going to look there on the outside of the first horseshoe. That is, he can't quite, or he won't make that move. Probably in the back of his mind that he will probably overtake the car anyway at the end of this lap, possibly on the straight, weaving with his car. Probably not happy, or is he just warming up his tires? Who knows? Leach is currently, oh no, that's Matcha in P4 there, trying to pick up the scrap. He already has his popcorn in his hands, probably eating out of the bucket and waiting for something to happen here in this group for the lead here. It's going to be exciting. I tell you what's also exciting. The battle.
Oh, he's gonna hit him!
Oh, that was almost contact for Bart Matcha there, but manages to just avoid the Mazda MX5 of Roth there. Very exciting.
Bobby and Schmedberger might need to turn away. We might have to put a graphic content warning up for him. He's a Miata enjoyer. He loves Miatas, and who wouldn't? They're fun sports cars. But beyond that, this is his version of a nightmare, seeing so many of these beautiful cars get absolutely mangled. But we always knew this was the risk you run coming to Daytona. Now, top 4 breakaway. It's Parrott, Valek, Roth, and Macha. Behind them, it's Leach, Dauber, Heilman, and Boss. And then it's Octane. Oh, something's happened maybe between Leach and Dauber as they lose a little bit of time. I don't think they crashed. I just think they drove off of the track a little bit as they have lost about a second, but no more, as we ride on board with Bart Macha, the number 5 car, looking at the top 3. Valek and Roth drafting in the outside lane, trying to displace Parrott, and they will do. Parrott's going to go up and get 3rd in line. What does Macha do? Does Macha let off the throttle here a little bit? I reckon he might do, and he doesn't want to be in the draft here going into turn number 1. He wants a clear run into the corner. He's going to go under Parrott. Does Parrott see him? I think at the last second he does. He affords him space. Clear run for Valek, and that looks like Peppa Pig clearly out in front. Bart Macha able to take away 3rd place for the time being from Parrott, who sees him in time and lets him in maybe a little bit, almost a touch there, as Jaroslav Roth in 2nd place, just hanging out, trying to take his turn to make a move for the lead. This happened right behind the leaders here, Dan.
Going into the bus stop. Oh, there's a little bit of contact. There's a lot of contact there. Leach, Leach needing to cut the track completely. Oh, there's another touch there. Leach not happy with, who's that? Is that Benjamin Hellman in P6, or is that Octane? Has he fallen back? I have no clue. But Leach, getting touched there, was not happy. And this is the image we have live. This is the battle for P5. And look at all the cars trying to get that P5. We have a lot of, I think there's an incident waiting here to happen because there's so many cars, so many things can go wrong. Leach on the outside of the banking now will probably get overtaken by Benjamin Hellman. And look how good the slipstream, how powerful the slipstream is here at Daytona. You can see Kevin Boss almost 8 tenths behind, and he is catched up, and he's probably going to overtake Benjamin Hellman coming into the bus stop. Now Leach trying to bump drop Benjamin Hellman, but look, there comes the car of Octane, the Bridgesman, trying to overtake Kevin Boss into the bus stop, and that's contact. Will there be even more contact? Yes, there will, but they all make it out unscattered, and that's very scary, but that's what you get at Daytona.
Tom Bryant has had an additional incident in the bus stop chicane. I'm not sure what happened to the 22, but a lap ago, this is what happened to them, and this is after lengthy repairs on pit lane. They go into the bus stop, and they do the same thing again, and, well, it couldn't have happened to a nicer livery.
Yeah, it couldn't happen indeed.
This is not good.
This is going to go wrong.
This is live, I think.
This is live. This Sundstrom going into turn
Oh,
one
this is
there
not
with
going to end
the-
well.
with the rest of the top 5, but this is classic. This is what you love to see. Jordan Daly, he had an incident, was P17 at the beginning of the race and is now P9. That's what Daytona can give to you. It gives you a second chance, but it can also end it so quickly as we go 3 wide out.
Oh,
of
this
turn
ain't gonna
4
work.
here.
This ain't gonna
This will
work in
not
the elbow.
work.
They
This
gotta
will-
sort this out in the dog leg. This ain't gonna work. You ain't gonna make it through there. Trust me. I tried to do this years ago, and it's gonna be a crash. It's gonna be a crash. Oh, and they all make it. No, they don't. Oh, they do. But they don't. They do. They don't. They do. They did. Oh my God. They don't. They did. Back to you, Dan.
Oh my heart spikes are going insane. I probably need to visit the doctor after this. Oh, there's an overtake. Make sure you brake early enough. Benjamin Hellman, Jordan Daly on the outside there. This is madness, but this is Daytona. You have to love it. This is why the Mazda MX5 Cup exists here. They do this in IMSA in real life, and we're doing it here on Racing Club International as well. Because if you can do it, you should do it. You should also race in it, because it's probably, well, either way, it's going to end up very badly for you or very good, but it's fun nonetheless. Jordan Daly here probably needs a lift to avoid all the calamity going into the bathtub, and he doesn't lift, and he makes contact with that is the car of Kevin Bos, and now Mikael Sandström can overtake Jordan Daly, and Jordan Daly will probably have damage. I thought I saw a rear bumper going off there, but it's respawned, and now we're going 3 wide, heading into turn 1. Sandström on the outside, Jordan Daly trying to bump draft in, Kevin Bos completely on the inside, Benjamin Hellman in the middle there, and he tucks back into the slipstream of Kevin Bos to support him, and they're racing down to the flag, they're racing down to T1, I say the flag, oh, and that's an incident for who?
Oh, he saved it! He saved it! Benjamin Harlan made it halfway down pit road, and he saved it! Oh my gosh! The Race Ventura car has said absolutely not. Ted Edwards backing out of this. That was incredible right there. A couple of very near misses between the two of them. Billy Octane has had an incident, and that will further drop them down the field. I didn't quite see what happened, but I have a feeling we're about to see. And the 7-Eleven's just going to hook him into the wall. And oh my goodness, that is, thank goodness that everybody else was able to miss him. But I believe that was Ryan Leach on Billy Octane right there.
It was a very sharp Benjamin Hellman operating that Mazda MX-5 to not lose control, but not make contact, and keep going and staying in that fight for P5 as well. Jordan Daly has had an incident, falling back to P12 now, falling back hugely, and this is the incident.
Oh, just runs over the back of him.
Yeah, runs into the wall there.
Was that a brake failure?
Yeah, who knows? Could have been. We maybe need to interview him after this race. Jordan Daly in pit lane now. His race is over. And do we really only have 13 cars in 12 cars in contention for P5 for the race lead?
But look what's happening here. Remember, Mikael Sundström started about 17th or 18th in this race. He's up to 6th, and he's bump drafting, I believe that's Leach, to try and maybe get up there and catch Parrott and them. It's 10 seconds, 10, 11 seconds. It's a big ask, but if you can push out the car in front of you a little bit and maybe whittle down the competition, you could be potentially looking at a one-on-one for a top 5. Kevin Boss is probably not going to allow that to happen either with Heilman or Edwards, but this is huge for Mikael Sundström, a driver alive in this championship, and they're looking pretty good. Now, you got to be careful. The way that the bump drafting goes wrong is that when you get off center or somebody starts wiggling and you're still connected to them, it's super easy to hook them, and you've got to be very careful about it right here on the start-finish line, the front stretch. Slam drafting them in a lot of cases is actually, believe it or not, a little bit safer than locking bumpers. They are allowed to here at RCI to lock bumpers and bump draft in as many, deep as they feel they want to, but it is a safety thing. You got to be very careful about it, how you do it. We've seen it go wrong. We've seen a lot of cars be hooked, and Ted Edwards and Conway have been involved in an incident now.
Yes, see what's happening here. This is Harry Conway on the grass, loses the traction into the wall. He goes, and that's his race over for Harry Conway. I'm curious now what happens with Ted Edwards, and we see a race replay here for Ted Edwards, and loses control as well, slams into the wall. No!
Safe!
Seems
Oh, watch out, Tedo!
Is he making more contact though on the exit?
Oh man, he does this in the housing estate where he lives, a 17-point turn. This is we're just watching live footage of how he pulls out of his driveway every morning right there. That's just how you do it where he's from.
Ted Edwards not fortunate in that Mazda MX5, losing control there, but now this is Peppa Big, also known as Valek, trying to bomb drive Roth all the way into that bus stop chicane. Needs to lift off before the braking zone, otherwise they're going to hit each other, but Mattia almost outbraking himself, will lose time in that bus stop chicane. Yes.
Do you ever think you'd see a pig chasing a cat here live on RCI Wednesdays?
No, I never. But you know, it's RCI. Everything can happen. Everything will happen if we have a pig chasing a cat. Yes, indeed.
That is absolutely true. In-car camera. This is on a gyro, and it just shows you how much banking there is here at Daytona. Some 20-something degrees of banking. It is massive, and even here on the pit straight at the front stretch, as they call it, it's still pretty massive. Not quite as much in the corners, but you just get as close as you like. And sort of from this position, it's kind of the same as the driver position. You don't really get to see, because of the hoods on these cars, where the bumpers line up, so you're kind of guessing. And down the inside here, as Jersey goes through the dirt, that's going to be dirty tires. That could spell curtains, and they will go back to third. Barmacha up to P2, and Valek back to the lead in the Peppa car.
I love seeing the little, not so streamlined front ends of the Mazda bonnets. You know who has maybe slam drafted a car in front of him and who doesn't, which is very funny to see. And you know, in karting you have these click bumpers where you can't bump draft someone too much. If you do it, then those click bumpers sort of fall down, and race direction knows you've bumped someone too hard, and you'll get a penalty in 5 seconds, or you either get disqualified.
Maybe you're talking about the no fun bumpers. Yeah.
Yes, the no fun bumpers, exactly. They shouldn't. We have an incident here. Jordan Daly, currently P15, loses the car on his own on exit. Oh,
I thought he was going to save it there. Hold on a minute, Sally. He did.
He did.
Or did he? He did.
Jordan Daly testing his drifting skills in the Mazda MX5 and just losing control a little bit on the grass. And with only 4 minutes left, time absolutely flies, Jesse Lee.
Yeah, it really does. Valek leads Matcha, Roth, and Parrott. The top four still together. This group has not made any headway. In fact, they've lost time, another 1.5 to 2 seconds. Ryan Leach, Mikael Sundstrom with Benjamin Heilman in tow. Kevin Boss is right there, just out of the picture. The second white car in the frame, the one in the back. All four of these cars will be fighting over the 5th spot here. And you've got these two groups, the top four, and then the cars directly behind them, all fighting over serious points. This could be huge if you're, obviously, Mikael Sundstrom, Benjamin Heilman, two drivers deep into this championship. But if you're Kevin Boss, who's been sort of a top 10 around that car, now if you get a top 5, that would be huge. That would leapfrog you in front of many cars. So this is huge for everybody here. Race number 1. Keep in mind, don't go anywhere, folks. We've got an additional 30-minute race here. We're going to flip the field based on how they finished or didn't finish, if you will, in race number 1, and we're going to do it again. Looks like Martin Lawrence is going to be on the pole for race number 2. A second 30-minute race coming up immediately following the conclusion of this race. And man, am I glad we've got a couple of minutes of time before races. It's going to take all of it to kind of dissect what happened in race number 1.
You know who's not glad with qualifying? It's probably Mikael Sundstrom, because he needs to come all the way back.
Oh, Jersey!
The 70 spot. Jersey. Oh, Jersey Roth indeed has yellow flags on his car. Has he made a mistake or an incident? This is the race replay. We can see he's outbraked himself, and he spun. He spun against the car.
That's heads-up
Matcha.
driving by Parrott right there. That was really good driving by Parrott.
Yeah, that's really reflexes. Maybe he's a goalkeeper. That's where I learned my reflexes from. But Roth there, unfortunate for the Miausta. I wanted to say Miausta car, but it's just a Miausta here with his beautiful Whiskas livery. But that's unfortunate. And you know, Daytona can catch you out sometimes, and sometimes it will catch you out. Happens a lot in 24-hour races. This is not a 24-hour race. This is a 30-minute race with Mazda MX5, which is very fun to see.
I think we're coming around to get the white flag, 1 to go, and the leader is coming off of NASCAR, or going into NASCAR turn number 3, and of course we've got a 2-car group up at the front now. Valak and Macha be a one-on-one fight for them, and behind them is Jersey now by themselves. Wait a minute.
Yeah.
What has happened to Leach in this? Oh, they lost so much time in the. No, something else had to happen to that 7-Eleven to drop them back. So, I'm being told there isn't, but there's no way that Jersey has that incident, and now the 7-Eleven is behind them, even though we saw them pass them. Either way, makes no difference. Leach for PSUK back here in the fray for what is now a spot inside the top 4 they're all fighting with. Benjamin Heilman currently has it in the Speed Salad Mazda, but is being challenged by just about everybody and their brother and sister down into turn number 1. Here's Mikhail Sundstrom going to the inside of Heilman. These two have been door to door. They may have touched just there.
They did definitely touch. Door banging, robbing is racing, as they say in racing, and it's no different here in the Mazda MX5 Cup. And as they approach the last lap, everyone wants to set their car in a strategic spot to make sure you're the first.
No, I want to be third in line. No, I want to be third.
Exactly, you will probably want to be third or second, especially not first, because if you're first, that means you're not going to be first after the finish line here. Benjamin Helmut currently in that first position. He probably, maybe, you know, he just does a cheeky breakaway to the left here and gets his car to the back of the group, but he doesn't. He stays in front, hoping he will maybe get overtaken by Mikhail Sundstrom in the end. But I want to see what the leaders are currently up to, because they're coming on to the bus stop chicane here. Peppa Pig is still in front of the car of Bart Macho.
He doesn't want to take the lead. He doesn't want it.
He doesn't want it. Jesse Lee, what's it gonna be at the end?
I have a feeling Bart Macha is going to make a move. The question will become, does Peppa Pig throw a block on Bart Macha? That's a nice gap. That's the gap you want to have, and he's going to pull him back to him, and there's nothing Valak can do. Valak is in a position where you can block. Blocking isn't illegal. You can make a move if you're Valak here, and Macha is still absolutely going to get there, and this will be the definitive move, but will we see a block by Valak? Here it comes. Bart Macha pulling up. Will he pull out? Yes, he will. Dead to rights is Valak on the bottom. He won't have a move. He won't give up the bottom, and it's going to be Bart Macha winning it over Valak by a nose. Look at this. 2 cars, 4 cars, 2 rows deep fighting. Contact, side drafting beside each other. He's going to turn Mikhail Sundstrom. Mikhail saves it. Speed Salad. Speed Salad gets there. They crash across the line. Benjamin Heilman, P4.
This is classic NASCAR finish. Roscoe finishes in P9, and behind him Adam Cheek. What a finish that was for P5. Ted Edwards P11 over the line. Peter Roche P12 over the line. Octane P13 over the line. Daly, Parrott, Conway, followed by Bryant in P17. Darber with 1 lap, probably even more laps behind. Darber in P18, Filippi in P19, Hill, Dolezal, Mead, and Lorenk in P23 finishes off the field. That was the finish. I wanted to see this for the lead, Jesse.
Yeah, well, Bart Macha did exactly what you want to do. Just don't lead before the bus stop. Give him a lead. I guarantee Macha did the standard thing you do here whenever you realize you're going to have a run. If it's one-on-one, you don't have to worry about anybody from behind. So what you do, you give them about a 5-car lead. All you really do is you coast into the bus stop, make sure you get a good enough exit to stay within a second or so of them. You ideally about 7/10, and just pull right up to them. And I'm impressed with Valak. If I was Valak, if I drove 770, I'm throwing one hell of a block on Bart Macha, but he didn't do that. He was very respectful, stayed to the bottom, and Macha's momentum just carried him by on the outside. Just a brilliant race, well ran by both of those 2 drivers. They outlasted everybody else, got a good finish. Somehow Jaroslav Roth Jersey finishes third in this race. Benjamin Heilman over Mikael Sundstrom, Leach, Boss. Excellent finishes by Boss and Leach, I would say. Heilman and Sundstrom getting points that they needed. And you know what? They're not even mad they crashed across the line. First of all, Mikael didn't crash across the line. He saved that damn thing until they got across the line. That wasn't a crash until it was. But that was incredible driving to keep that car under control. Who really cares if you crash after you cross the line? But,
Yeah, it happens in NASCAR sometimes, not all the time, but it's quite often. And you know, this is what I love about Daytona. You never see 0.0 gap finishes almost in normal sports car races, and you see it maybe five times, 6 times here. Let's see if we see it even more times here, because may I remind you, only really 12 cars finished who were in contention, who didn't crash, who didn't have an incident, who were really in contention to get good points in this race. So the moral of this race really is, given half of the field crash, if you stay alive, you'll likely end up in the P10.
Yeah, I think the moral of the story is just save the bump drafting for later. If I was the crew chief on any of these cars, I'd say, look, don't bump draft, don't be bump draft. Get out of line, go to the third lane, run the wall, do whatever you can, save the car, because you don't need to bump draft. You don't win anything by leading lap 2 or lap 7. It's the last lap that counts, and you can't win it unless you're in it. So don't damage the car, don't damage the nose. I don't want the water temp to go up. I don't want damage to the tie rods on the car. I don't want people bump drafting me and putting me in an awkward position. We saw several cars get put hooked, as we call it in America, hooked into the wall, which means you're turned to the right into the wall instead of to the left. That's irreprehensible. You can't have that. You don't want to put yourself in that position. Just get out of line. Get out of line, fall back, and that's what you really need to be doing. I think you'll see a little bit more of that here. I want to bring up something that Fabian Schmedberg, we call him Fabs around here. He said that we were talking about getting a photo finish, because we have in every single round to this point. Fabs is absolutely correct. We've already fulfilled that quota. I reckon, though, we're going to get another one here. I don't see why we wouldn't.
I don't see why we wouldn't either. We're definitely going to get it, and I hope in my biggest dreams, we would get a 5-wide finish for the lead here. But see if that happens. Maybe a 5 finish anywhere would be brilliant, really. But it's going to be another episode of cycling 2.0 here. I mentioned it in the qualifying. I'm going to mention it again. This is going to be your classic Tour de France finish, or just your Tour de France. My English is not on fire today. But
well, Dan, I'm going to ask you, what jersey are we going for? Is this the polka dot jersey? Is this the yellow jersey? What
the
are we
green one?
This is the green?
The hail one? Is there a speed trap? Is there a speed one? The white?
Sure.
Jersey? I think there is.
It might be. Either that, or is it the white and red stripe? I don't recall. But I know a little bit about cycling, not a whole awful lot. Kevin Boss in chat says from his seat in the middle of that hornet's nest coming to the line, what a bonkers end, with a full stop after every single word. He meant it there. Again, there are days where I wish I was out there on the track. Today, another one of those days. Man, it's so good from the commentary position up here at the World Center of Speed, or the World Center of Racing, rather. But it is brilliant to see so many drivers have to work it out in their own time. So many calamities there in today's race number 1-2 that I don't think we would have saw. I thought we would have saw a big one. We didn't really see that. We saw a couple of cars at a time get whittled down. The question remains, Dan, was that the calm race or the chaotic one?
Oh, I think that's the calm race. I hope it's the calm race. As you say, we still wait for, in America, as they call it, the big one. And we didn't get the big one here today in race 1. And I predicted we were going to get a big one. So race 1 is calm race. Next race is chaos. And we also talked about safety cars. You said to me there's going to be 5 safety cars.
Oh, I did say that.
Yeah, you did.
Okay.
So we need
Can
5
I change my answer?
No.
We're
going to get 5 safety cars in this race. This is going to be classic NASCAR.
I think if we have 5 safety cars, the whole race would be ran under safety car. The track's too big and the race is too small. But I thought we'd have about 5 spread up between the 2 races. But the reality was there just wasn't an incident big enough to trigger a safety car. The majority of them were 1 or 2 car spins, and they got going or they returned to the pit lane. They towed, as it is in iRacing, a little bit too quickly. You'll notice that race number 1 was ran in the dark in the early morning hours. Race number 2 will be ran at dawn with the fog coming in. Now that is classic Daytona for you right there. And reminder, this is the warm-up. Race number 2 is coming at you right after this, and it will be the reverse order of how they finished in that race. So that means that if the front row is now the back, Macha and Valak. Martin Lawrence, who is one of the first casualties in the front with Mead, who will like this simply because this is a sort of a reprieve for them. But like you said earlier, Dan, you made a good point. I didn't think about it. Mikhail Sundstrom, because he finished inside the top 5, he's going to have to come from the back again.
Yep. And just like Benjamin Hellman, but you know, they've done it before. They've got experience with this. Rolf, Valak, Matja, Leach, not really. So this is going to be interesting. I said it in qualifying, this race is going to be all about, of course, having a bit of luck. This Slipstream Fiesta is all about a bit of luck, but you need experience as well. You need to know, where am I going to place my car? Am I going to place my car at the end of the race, at the start of the race, in the mid-pack? This is really going to be about experience. And ladies and gentlemen, folks of Racing Club International, if you haven't already, for our YouTube viewers, we also have a Twitch channel. For our Twitch channel, we also have a YouTube channel. If you aren't subscribed or subs to any of those, please make sure you do. It would help us out a lot. And just click a thumbs up on our YouTube live stream would be greatly appreciated. Now back to the racing, because we have an amazing race in front of us. The second race here at Daytona, at the third round in our iRacing Mazda MX5 Cup here at Racing Club International. It's going to be spectacular, and I'm still waiting for the big one.
I've only just clocked what is on the hood of Tom Bryant's hideous car. It is, and spoilers for anyone who maybe hasn't seen the NASCAR finale from last weekend, it is 3-time Cup champion Joey Logano hoisting a trophy that he definitely earned from having the worst average finish history in the history of NASCAR. I'm not bitter about that at all. Martin Lawrence up in front of the field with Mead, looking to get a better start here. One of the early issues for race number 1 was tire temp. We saw it when cars would come out of pit lane. They would have subsequent incidents because they forgot that the tires weren't warm. But we'll see how we get away here, and it's a clean getaway from Martin Lawrence, and they're going to bring Dozal in the Arizona T car directly with him. It's going to be a difficult start for Mead as they're going to go back to third immediately, and it looks like Raphael Huell trying to make their way around the outside, get boxed in by Dozal just a little bit, 3 wide in the background, but realistically a cleaner start this time.
No incidents in the first race, in the first lap, or in the first corners, and no incidents again. Or have I spoken too soon, because we still need to finish? Oh, we already have a yellow flag at the name of Benjamin Hellman in P last. He's in the dirt, in the wall possibly. He gets back on track in the background, as we will see a race replay here for Benjamin Hellman. Dead last with Bud Macha. Has he outbraked himself, lost control on the dirt indeed? Will probably spin his car. Yeah. Oh,
there you go.
spins around. Yeah, spins around and needs to do it all over again from an even further position than he already was.
Well, 1's the loneliest number that there ever was. 2 can be as bad as 1, but it isn't in this case. 1 is absolutely the worst thing. You don't want to go to a restaurant and say, oh, dinner for 1. That's absolutely the worst case scenario, and that's what Benjamin Heilman's going to be doing. He's going to be having a 30-minute dinner by himself unless some other cars get sent back to him. He is not going to be able to catch up. He's going to hemorrhage time because the draft is quicker than being by yourself, even if it's not a very efficient draft. Just simply by being in it, you're going to be quicker. And you can already see him losing times. His tires are going to be scuffed as well. So it's not going to be a very pleasant race number 2 in round 3 for him. Mark Lawrence continues to lead Dozal over Huel. Mead down to 4th. Dauber is your top 5. Conway, who we're currently with, is got Jordan Daly behind him. That should be somewhat friendly company, despite the fact that Daly is not racing for SJ&H on this particular championship occasion. He's racing for Race Ventura, racing with Ted Edwards. There are other SJ&H cars. Unfortunately, one of them, the Speed Salad SJ&H car, is the first casualty of the race spinning out. So one car going completely off of the pace here, falling down. That's Ryan Leach, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it is in the blue car there. What's happening to him? Is it maybe a mechanical failure?
Oh, contact!
Oh, there's contact and there's a wiggle from the car. And I think that's 4th place at the moment, trying to battle. I think that's Mead for P3. We have a yellow flag for Kevin Bos, the Dutchman. A yellow flag gets overtaken by Benjamin Elby. We have contact. It's a free wide here, exiting the first horseshoe. And it's all kicking off here at Daytona Speedway. Jordan Daly making contact with, I think that is Rocher or Felipe here. The number 21 trying to overtake the number 19, and that's Jordan Daly on the inside trying to keep his position there, coming into the second horseshoe there. And the number 9 of Felipe trying to overtake him. Felipe also in the mix, Rocher in the mix, Octane in the mix, everyone still in the mix here, and it's too wide.
They all
almost, yeah, they're all alive and too wide for almost every car you look at. It's insane, and it's going to be even more insane going into the bus stop here.
Kevin Boss had a spin, and I think it was a harmless one into turn 1. I don't think they made contact with anything. We're going to see 3 wide on the bottom. I do believe. Oh no, I was incorrect. Got hooked there. Was on the flat, and that's not as bad damage as it could have been. Huge tire scrub, though. That's not going to be very good for grip. But I guess the positive is that Benjamin Heilman, the positive for Benjamin Heilman, right, is that he has gained a spot. Keep in mind, that's a car thoroughly involved in the championship. Could it be a hook here? It almost was a touch. Another touch. Now trying to make their way through is Leach, and that wasn't Leach. That was the 171, not the 711 that I saw earlier. Mark Lawrence! Oh, and it's a huge crash for the 711. A tire comes off the car. Oh, you killed Kenny is involved. Several other cars. Bart Machow, Damchick, Roth, Markfart, Leach. Yes, Roche involved, Valek, all involved in an incident, and no safety car has been deployed. I thought if it was going to happen, it would have. And boys, that's the big one.
The big one. I was just about to say it. Oh, there's contact. There's just bumping on the side and more bumping on the side. Oh, and it all kicks off in front of him, even though there was no contact on the first incident because of it. There's another race replay here. We have...
that's so unfortunate for Markvar. Just the car came down right in front of him, nowhere to go.
Nowhere to go, and we have more replays here. Barry Octane losing it there with Martin Lorenk, who already hadn't had a great first race. Yeah, I don't know. That's just bump drafting, I guess.
I would love to see that again. That looked very strange indeed of what happened. That was, folks, this was after the fact. Oh no, it just turns him, just accidentally turns him. Yep. Okay, that's not what I thought I saw the first time. It's just a complete mismatch of the bumpers. Just straight up turns him accidentally in the bump draft. Yeah, it just that looked about as realistic of an incident as you'll ever see in iRacing. That is what it looks like when it goes wrong in real life. And just unfortunate, a bad day for Martin Lawrence goes even worse. And for Billy Octane, was just trying to gain some of that time back. It goes to a nightmare as we have had a big one here at Daytona. Surprise, that safety car did not come out with that many cars.
Surprise indeed, but ladies and gentlemen, we already have 5 cars technically out of this race for contention here, or 6 cars, 17 from P22.
Oh, safety car is out.
Safety car is out. That's quite late, actually.
Yeah, well, I mean, well, I'm a NASCAR fan. I know all about late cautions, but the caution lights are on. The safety car will be deployed this time, and if I'm anybody in this field, I'm getting new tires. I don't care. It doesn't matter. You can go through this field. You can go forwards and backwards. I'm going to get new tires. You can't pit this time by. You've got to grab the safety car in iRacing before pit lane is open. The cars have to be grouped together. So pit lane not open. Joe Dauber, what we've lost in all the chaos, Joe Dauber in the 777 is taking the lead from Dozal, Meade, Conway, Huel, the top 5, Luca Filippi in 6th place, Tom Bryant, Ted Edwards, and Jordan Daly, and Mikhail Sundstrom make up your top 10. Now, if you were already on pit lane like you were, like Valek was, in so many other cars, you are allowed to do your pit stop or continue your pit stop at no penalty. You just filter out wherever you come out in the field. Now, everybody at home, Dan in the booth with me, breathe.
And breathe out. Now,
woo, boy.
This is going to be exciting because we now... Oh, that's the car of Batmacha on the left-hand side of the track standing still for whatever reason. Now, the cars that were lapped or had damage and had minutes of repairs can be unlapped. I think. I don't know if it's... They can be unlapped. Thank you, Jesse. And they probably will. This could be the chance for everyone at the back of the pack to catch up again. And I just said these 6 drivers that just collided in the big one now have a chance to, you know, get back in the scrap for the points paying positions. This is going to be very interesting. What's also going to be very interesting is the race start itself, because we have everyone back again into contention for the lead in this race, probably from P16 to P1 onwards. We have a safety car, and I just got more and more excited.
Hello to Newser and Brooksy over on Twitch joining us, chiming in about the carnage and the racing thus far. It's been, well, we thought race 2 would be the more chaotic one, and it certainly has. First safety car deployment of the day, probably the only safety car deployment. Everybody in pit lane that would have been in pit lane at the time, several of the cars, in fact, that were down the lane have likely changed tires. They've repaired the damage, and they may be able to get back into this race. Anybody else, I still say it's worth it. Come down pit lane now, get new tires, do everything you possibly can, and know that likely it's going to be more chaos, and likely you're going to be able to draft back up there if you know, don't damage your car. So I don't think you have anything to lose by coming in. The top couple of cars may not want to come in. I think everybody behind them, though, should probably genuinely consider pitting here. Let's see. Pit lane should be open this time. Anybody coming down? Nope, absolutely not.
Yeah. Rolf, yeah, a few cars in the background.
Way further down the field than I thought. Oh, that looks like pit lane's still closed, I think. They're pitting under the red, which is fine. The penalty for that is tail end of the longest line or rear of the field. So they're going to start back there anyway. So maybe that's why they didn't come down, because that light at the end of pit lane was red. And, well, I'm just letting you know, if you've never driven a car in your life, red means stop. Contrary to what people from my town believe red means. So unless that light is incorrect, which I doubt it is, they couldn't come down anyway. And that would explain why everybody on the lead lap did not even attempt to pit there.
Daytona International Speedway stepped out of the ground, officially opened on the 22nd of February 1995. 59. I don't know my numbers in English. 1959. Quite the track with some history. Of course, everyone knows it of the Daytona 500. We, of course, IMSA races here for the Daytona 24. Coca-Cola 500, I think it is, but Jesse probably knows it better since I'm not American.
I thought you were going to say because I was alive when it was built, but go on.
Well, you were, right?
Well, I mean, I was alive when the dinosaurs were still kicking around.
Yeah.
They, you know, comet, something, meteor, they were kicking up a fuss.
Yeah. Jesse knows all about it here at Daytona, and Daytona never fails to entertain us, and so it doesn't as well here at Racing Club International. And I wonder, Jesse, how long the safety car is going to take. Do I see the safety car lights off there, or are they still
Maybe.
on? Mikael Sundstrom still
They
in
are off. We're
P10.
going green.
Yeah, they are off. We are going boogity, boogity, boogity. We go racing, as they would say in America. But since I'm not American, it would be probably inappropriate. So Jesse, you can do the start.
You've put that on me there.
Yeah.
Well, user's correct. It's a fresh start for everybody as they will work this out. I think from the last time we had a safety car at Navarra, I think event manager Tom Bryan has done single car instead of 2x2, which I think is a cop-out. 2x2 is way more interesting than single file, but I think in the name of safety, event manager Tom Bryan has made it a single car. He left the safety cars in, he just made them single car. Folks, while we have just a moment here before we go back green, if you are watching on Twitch, if you would drop a follow, that would be fantastic. If you're over on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. We'll be back live with you on Monday for Porsche Cup action in Assetto Corsa Competizione. We'll be back, Dan and me, on Wednesday for continuing coverage of Mazda Cup at a more sane racetrack, if you can believe that. I think we're going to Oulton Park in the UK. Been checking ahead to the weather forecast, and it looks a little bit iffy up there as well. JP Sim Racing has mentioned that for PSUK, their internet has died, and that's taken them out of the race, which is why there's not 23 cars, I do believe, on the racetrack, or maybe why there's only 20 cars running around the racetrack now. So unfortunate, but thank you very much for the report. Here we go again. Pace cars off. We're going back green, racing again at the World Center of Speed, and I'm not saying boogity, boogity, boogity. I am not Darrell Waltrip. I'm not going to do that.
That's such a shame. That's such a shame. Joey Darbe in the lead here. And we're going to demote Jesse Lee to our co-commentator after this race. Joey Darbe indeed in the lead. Dolezal in second. And the top three hasn't changed. Or have I spoken too early? Because Harry Conway is on the outside of Horseshoe 1. And there goes Meath for P3 in this race. But look, Raphael Hull in the background there in P5. Wants that P3 very, very much. But Filippi probably also has something to say about it. It's all kicking off here for the third place in this race, and P1 and P2 are breaking away. That's not what the rest of the field wants. Filippi here currently in P5. This is coming out of Horseshoe 2, and look at Dolezal trying to look on the outside of Joey Darbe, showing himself in the rear mirror of the current man in P1, and Filippi still in P5 and going on to the bus stop again. It's going to kick off with the slipstream being the main character here.
Yeah, look at them. All the cars in a train, single file. This looks exactly like what a Mazda Cup race looks like here at Daytona. This is very realistic looking right now as they all try to feel it out and get caught back up to each other. The bump drafting will start again, and it'll probably start right around the Filippi meet area as they're about as close as anybody. Harry Conway pushing up into the top two. Does he have a little sniff into the bus stop? He thinks better of it and backs off as everybody line astern as they go through the first time. Keep in mind your tires will cool off a little bit in the safety car period, so maybe your braking's on and your grip not necessarily where you left them, as we have a momentary sort of interim of calm for the first time today. But then again, the majority of the opening laps have been calm. It's usually lap 2 after these things where things really kick off. Speaking of kicking off, we're 3 wide, down below the apron. Now, I'm not sure. I think you can go below the apron in iRacing. Now, whether or not there's a rule in the rule book for RCI that says that you can't do that, I don't know. But in iRacing, I think you can. I know they recently started punishing people in normal weekly races that do that, which they hadn't done for 12 years, but they recently started doing that. But I don't think we have a rule on the books for it, so who knows? Maybe you can, maybe you can't.
Can you do it in real life?
No, absolutely. For
All
safety,
right.
you have to stay on the banking.
Yeah.
You have to respect double yellow lines the same way you would on the road.
Yep. That's a not so. I'm sorry for interrupting you. That's a not so streamlined bonnet from driven by Michael Sandström there. Look, I think that's the front left completely annihilated, or at least the headlights are completely annihilated on that car. Wondered if have they repaired their damage? Probably not. But yeah, very interesting. They will lose some time on the straight line speed, downforce wise, and Jordan Daly now trying to fight his teammate there with the same livery. And this is the battle for P1, of course. Joy Darber in P1, Dolezal in P2.
Oh, that's going to be a mess.
This
that's
is
not good.
Indeed going to be a mess. But look at the guys in P4, P5. They're all going to catch up. Is somebody?
You can't push 3 deep like that.
Is somebody going for a move here, going into the bus stop? Who's backing out and who isn't? Look, that's Harry Conway trying to get P2. He has taken P2, now wants to go for the lead. Is this going to kick off into turn 1? Who knows? Maybe Jesse Lee knows.
All I know is that this is about to be an accident in disguise is what's going on there. You can't be pushing third car in line. That's how you get a crash. That's how you get ants, ladies and gentlemen. But this is Dauber with Conway, Dolezal and Mead as they kind of they get really close. I'm just afraid that one of them, they're going to miss a line and they're going to hit into each other. But clear of the field now is Harry Conway with Dolezal in tow. And you've got Joe Dauber trying to fight their way back. Led a couple of laps there. He's going to push Dolezal out of the way a little bit. He's going to take the skinnier line into the corner. The 29 almost loses it, but no. Mead saves it. Stays on the inside. No drama there with Huell and Filippi. Everybody fighting behind them, scrambling too wide on a very dangerous part of the racetrack to be doing that, but they get it sorted out through turn 2 before they get to the horseshoe, and the International Horseshoe goes fine without incident somehow, despite how oh boy, spoke too soon. Look what's coming through the dog leg.
Wow, this is absolutely spectacular. Just the amount of cars going, trying to be in the same position, trying to overtake each other with minimal space to work with is absolutely breathtaking. Look at, I think that those are probably 12, 13 cars, 14 cars trying to battle here for the lead. 15 cars, given Kevin Boss is the last one of them. Oh, the Arizona car goes wide there and tries to overtake Joey Dauber for P2. That's Dolezal trying to get a better spot, but he thinks better of it, and now he's back into P3 again. Everyone else is trying to catch up with the lead, and I think they're so slowly succeeding.
Oh, he's gonna crash! Crash!
Lead! Is this the big one? Are they going to collect someone more but a crash for the lead? And that means that Rafael Hulda has taken the lead. Mead in second. What's going on here?
I hate to add insult to injury for Harry Conway. You're going to watch this back on VOD, I can guarantee it. And I hate to mention this. This is the second time this week that Harry Conway's been wrecked out of the lead in an iRacing race. And that is absolutely horrible. Luckily, everybody else able to miss him, but just Joe Dauber and Harry Conway not lining up. The 29 goes for one, and is this because Dolezal is pushing them all? What did I just say? You can't be 3 cars deep pushing, because that's exactly what happens. It unsettles the car in the middle, and when the car in the middle gets unsettled, it wrecks the car in front because you're not steady. And this is what's happening. The 191 survives of Dolezal. Mead goes to the lead, but it's Huell down to the inside of turn number 1. And by the background, don't look now, it's Mikael Sundstrom. He's done it again for the second time in as many races. He's hunting for the front here at Daytona.
The Swedish driver absolutely on it this race, and not only this race, also the first, the second, and the third.
Oh, big crash again!
Let's crash again. Mikael Sundström 3 wide now into the horseshoe, 2 wide now into the dogleg. I mean, and that was a crash. See if we can get a replay on that. Mead is currently in P12. He stumbled down the order.
Yikes.
As we have a race replay here. This is the car of Mead.
No!
Spins around on his own.
Well, if he did get touched, it was ever so slight for Mead, but an incident by themselves sends them down the order. Mead goes from running in the top 3 to running outside the top 10. Dolezal, Huell, Tom Bryant somehow, Peter Roche, Luca Filippi, the top 5. Where did Tom Bryant come from?
I have no idea, but here's he he is here now nonetheless, and he's going to try and makes the most of it. Tom Bryant is, who's also trying to make the most of it, Roscombe. But behind Roscombe is driving a Britishman called Ted Edwards, and he's going to try and overtake Roscombe on the inside of the bus stop chicane. I think Roscombe is wise enough to pull out of that. Yes, he is, and so Ted Edwards moves up a place currently in P6, well in contention for the lead of that race here. Ted Edwards is. Roscombe is just as well as is, I think, the whole 11 spots we have here fighting for P1. Benjamin Hellman, Sundstrom, Rolf, Boss, Roscombe, Edwards, Filippi, Roche, Brian is in third, Hill is in second, and Dolezal is still in first, but that can change and probably will change anytime soon. With 8 minutes left, we can see Roscombe now gaining on that Edwards, but in the foreground there, we see the battle for the lead kicking off into the last 0.0 seconds, almost 3 wide going into tier 1. Is somebody outbraking himself? Yes, that's Ted Edwards outbraking himself into turn 1. Sends cars wide, sends Roscombe wide. It's all kicking off here again at Daytona.
That's not going to work, and they're going to end up too wide and bunched up back here, discombobulated as Ted Edwards runs in there. And I thought for a second we were going to go bowling at the Glen, but that's not what happened. Somehow Roscombe's able to save the car, run out wide. That's why that area out there is paved. But even still, just a great job by the 96 to save that car and not get into any further incident. Billy Octane's had an incident, I think, by themselves into turn 1, and yet just looping the car there. Newser's brought up a good, that was real close there with one of the PSUK cars. I think that might have been Leach, in fact, coming through. Newser's brought up a good point. The orange cones that you see in the NASCAR turns indicate where the track limits begin, where you can't go below the line. And that's very true, but I don't think iRacing cares if you go below it. I think you actually have to protest it for it to become a thing, unless I'm very much mistaken, and it now does calculate you going below the line and passing. You're not supposed to, but unless it's protested, I don't think anything happens, or at least it didn't back years ago. Anyway, but you can see some of the row of cones that we're talking about, especially coming out of the bus stop chicane. There's a row of cones that indicate where you can no longer go on the apron and advance your position, and you're about to see it here. Not those cones, that indicates track limits there, but here, not those cones. You see them right here as they come back on the banking. There'll be about 5 cones lined up right there. They are, and you can't go below those, but I'm not sure iRacing calculates that beyond a protest. So beyond, I wouldn't test it, Dan, if I were you, because if somebody were to report that post-race stewarding, I think, to err on the side of logic, you don't pass on a double yellow line, and I think that would be considered doing so. I wouldn't risk it for the biscuit.
No, indeed, very well said. But drivers will always push the limits. What's also getting pushed today? These Master MX5 getting pushed around the track, bumper to bumper, bumper to, I want to say, rear spoilers. They don't have a rear spoiler here. Masters, cute little cars, but have little to downfalls, little to no downfalls at all, which also means not a lot of dirty air, which you can see because we still have 11 cars on almost what's a cumulative a distance of 2 seconds. You can see this view is absolutely incredible. Too many cars fighting for too many positions, and maybe we'll have another big one, but I'm not going to commentate first. Yeah, I cursed it, didn't I? Yeah, I'm so sorry. We're here for the entertainment. We're not drivers, Jesse.
Dolezal leads Filippi Huel over Tom Bryant. Boss, the top 5. Boss, who is absolutely, he said in our chat, he's absolutely chuffed with that excellent top 10 finish. He could be on for another one here. The problem is that there's still just about 11 cars in a train together, and they sort of spread out, thank goodness, on these sort of NASCAR-y sections of the racetrack. We will see how long they can all survive. 4 in a row here in the middle. But Joe Dauber says that is noticing that they're getting increasingly more volatile tapping between it. Brooksy has just said that, pretty sure that it gives you a slowdown if you stay below the line for too long. That may be indeed the case. we go back to live here. Jordan Daly running sort of. Oh, this is a replay of Jordan Daly having an issue there, just driving off the racetrack. I don't know if that's actually what happened right there or not. Might have been reaching for a coffee or something right there. Back to live. Raphael Huell leading the group over Tom Bryant in P2. Yeah, I'll tell Tom. I'll get Tom Bryant this day. Tom Bryant knows how to win super speedway races. He's done it a little bit. He's figured out how to draft and where you want to be. He's got that knowledge that maybe some of the other drivers perhaps don't. And I'm quite curious if he's worked it out here in a group this large of how to win this race already, just hanging out in the top three.
Yeah, I mean, he's in a good spot right now. You know, P3 isn't too far behind. And Tom Bryant is currently in a good spot. If he can keep this up, if he can just stay behind Raphael Huell, the German, and not get into P1 without getting overtaken, I think he might have a really good shot for the lead. This is Harry Conway. Does he have an incident in P15? Yes, he does go over the grass here, coming out of the second horseshoe, I think that is. And here he is back on track again. Oh, we have an incident of Peter Roche. See if we can get a replay, if it works on that very soon. And the timer is ticking down. This is another race replay of Roche. I think that this is a little train, but we can't view it just yet.
Having some technical difficulties with the simulator right now, but it's going to be an interesting finish. A couple of minutes left to go. We'll bring you live images as we have them. Now's as good of time as any to bring up our fantastic partners. AK Esports is a leader in esports hosting. If you would like more information on how AK can help you host your upcoming esports events, go to akesports.it and inquire within. If you're racing over on Assetto Corsa Competizione on a Monday, for instance, maybe you need a Porsche Cup setup for this coming week, you're going to want to go get yourself a Go setup for that. We'll race in Imola, of all places. You want to take Acqua Minerale the correct way? Go setup. Check them out on their website. Moser Racing putting direct drive hardware for profit or for not breaking the bank money. Go over to Moser Racing. Check out their selection of direct drive hardware and sets that won't break the bank and will give serious performance. And of course, Motorsport UK, we're a recommended esport community. Thank them for their partnership as well. Still dealing with some iRacing issues here, and unfortunately that may mean that we won't be able to show you live images, but I do believe the timings tower is still working, and that means that Tom Bryant is in the lead of Kevin Boss. Dozal now fighting Raphael Huell in position. And now Kevin Boss apparently has gone to the lead as well, as they're all, I'm going to assume, 2x2 bump drafting in the coming on to NASCAR 2, actually going into NASCAR 1 right now.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to see Kevin Boss win this.
That would be insane.
He has had some bad luck in the past, and if he can win it with 5 seconds remaining, he's in third. Though, who's going to win it? Of course,
Tom
when the
Bryant
clock
back to the point.
If it's on 0, it doesn't mean they have finished yet. So everything can happen here. Kevin Boss now in second. Tom Bryant still in P1. They're approaching the bus stop. You can see it on the Delta.
Ted Edwards.
Yeah,
here he comes.
What's going to happen here? Oh, yellow
Kevin
flag.
Boss. No, he's fine. He just ran off the track a little bit in the bus stop. He's going to be fine. A couple of other cars behind him do exactly that. Dozal is going to fall back. Kevin Boss falls back to 5th or 6th as they have lost all momentum. Tom Bryant leads Ted Edwards. Tom Bryant might be out in front. Kevin Boss has spun it into turn number 3, and that might have been contact with another car. Benjamin Heilman involved as well. Back to live images. Tom Bryant is... We're not back to live images. This is a replay, and we couldn't quite show you that. But it is going to be, of all things, I believe, Tom Bryant has won the race over Ted Edwards. Raphael Huell, Jaroslav Roth, and Luca Filippi are top 5. Dozal, Roscom, Sundstrom, Roche, Adamczyk, the top 10. And behind them, actually, no, they've not come to the line yet. It's flip-flopped. Sundstrom, Roche and Mead, the top 10. Damchick, Heilman, Boss, Daly, Conway, Matcha, Leach, and Octane will be the 18 cars. I do believe that finished, and it is a dark day for Race Club International as Tom Bryant has won a thing.
Tom Bryant as one. Who would have thought? I just cursed. I think I cursed Kevin Boss, given he's currently down in 13th place. I'm so sorry, Kevin. But Tom Bryant takes the win. Ted Edwards, who outbraked himself in this race, P12 finishes P12. Rafael Hull, the German, finishes P3. It would have been an amazing finish, 0.1 interval, 0.1, 0.0. We would have had an amazing finish on our hands. Sadly, what will break in streaming, what will break in technology, what can break, will break at some point.
Well, the race was just too crazy, and it
Yes.
wouldn't take it. Do you know what's funny? Tom Bryant has now won 2 races that we've broadcasted, and we've not shown him winning either time.
Wow.
Some would say Ash Bibby hates him, but what a race it was. I said before that all kicked off, Tom Bryant has oval experience. Tom Bryant has the ability to put his car in the right position. He has the knowledge base, and the notebook to know exactly where he needs to be coming to get a checkered flag of these races. He's lost them in heartbreaking fashion. He's won some of them in brilliant fashion. Could he potentially call back his knowledge that others may not have to be in the right place? He sat in third. He sat in second. He took the lead when he thought he had the best opportunity, and he did, and he beat out Ted Edwards. He beat out Raphael Huell and Jersey for that win. It was well raced, the ugliest car in the field, certainly at 22, but also a brilliant drive by Tom Bryant.
Yeah, indeed, brilliant drive from Ted Edwards as well. But it's just, you know, this is this. I said it before. This is racing. This is Daytona. This is Racing Club International. This is what Daytona brings with you. Just these amazing races, special races. You don't get to see them too often, but if we do, it's always amazing. And even though we didn't get the finish, Daytona definitely delivered.
Well, we are here with winner of race number 2, Tom Bryant. It was a chaotic race that saw a safety car, but in the end, it was you that won it. And I said before that all kicked off, Tom, if there was a one driver inside the top 5 that had the knowledge to use the draft to manipulate the cars around them to win this race, it would probably be you, because you've been there before in stock cars and other races. You knew what you had to do. It was if you had the opportunity, and you did. You got it done, and you've won it. How do you feel?
Pretty good. Big thanks to Ted for the massive push at the end. Wouldn't have won it without that. And I was convinced going into the bus stop in first place, I was going to finish about 6th. So yeah, surprised, I think is the word for it.
We didn't get to see it. We were having some sort of technical gremlin going on with the simulator. Kevin Boss, absolutely livid, was also in the lead there on that final lap. From your perspective, Tom, what happened?
It all just bunched up coming onto the banking for the first time. There was about 7 of us in the train, and we were 3 wide, 2 rows back going into the bus stop. So I just outbroke everyone, and then it all got a bit scrappy behind. Ted, bless him, glued to my bumper all the way to the end, and I think it was Huell was on the outside and just couldn't get there.
So you're telling me you owe Ted Edwards a steak dinner, I think is
I
what's
think
going
I
on
owe
there,
Ted a
right?
bit more than that.
Well, I mean, hey, what you two do, in your own time is none of my business. But what I will say is, it's another win for Tom Bryant. All right, another brilliant one at that. This is the second time you've won a thing. 2 different simulators. You've won an ACC. We broadcast that. You've won it now in iRacing as well, and you've done it in the ugliest car in the field. You got to be pumped about that. Not only does your driver win NASCAR, you drive his number, you put his stupid face on the hood of the car, and you go out there and you win it for Joey. It's a pretty perfect day for you have to think.
I hear a salty Jesse. Continue, Tom.
It's a glorious livery. It's the best 20 minutes spent of my life creating it. Yes, it was. How many things could I put on the car to annoy everybody else on the grid? And clearly it worked.
Well, you absolutely do, and the Joey's face isn't the thing I originally noticed that I hated. It was the stupid seagull on the back. I'm surprised that Mikhail even allowed you to finish a race with a seagull on the back of that thing.
I saw far too much of Joey's face in the first race because twice I crashed and the bumper crumpled up, and I could not see the track, and I could just see Joey's face holding the cup. So yeah, glorious face.
Absolutely brilliant indeed. Well, Tom, anybody you want to shout out or say thanks to for this win? It was a brilliant race win after all.
Just thanks to Ted for the push, and then to you guys as always for the amazing broadcast and doing this week in week out. Couldn't do it without you guys, so thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Tom Bryant wins it in race number 2 at Daytona. That is as about as good as it ever could have been. Dan, couple of races, a photo finish, maybe a surprise winner, maybe not. I kind of called it that Tom could do it, but even though it wasn't one of our championship front runners, you could probably call that a wild card win. What are your thoughts for the action at Daytona?
I think we saw some wild card racing, but as well as some skilled racing as well. Look, we had Mikael Sandström, we had Benjamin Hellman, who despite their bad qualifying, despite their disappointing qualifying positions, they managed to fight back and claim some valuable points. And in the second race, they of course start from the back and get some great points as well. I think they did. So we've seen a accumulation of both. Some great wildcard racing with some great skillful, thoughtful racing, like Tom did. Like Benjamin did, you name it, a lot has happened. I think I could almost call Circuito de Navarra more crazy than this race, but hey, at least we got a big one.
Yeah, we sure did. We'll be back live with you next week, by the way. The season's not over. This was only round 3. This was the middle round. It's all downhill from here, but we will be going to Alton Park, back to Old Blighty for round number 4 in 1 week's time, and Laguna Seca for the finale in 2 weeks' time. Our next broadcast is Monday, Imola for the Porsche Cup Season 5, entering round number 4 there. John Dalton and myself there on that broadcast. And wow, just a great day here, a fascinating day. Another race with a photo finish, and the second race, nose to tail between two old friends getting it done on Daytona. Folks, I've been Jesse Lee, joined by Dan Van Zutphen with Ash Bibby behind the cameras. On behalf of everyone here at RCI, we'd like to thank you for watching today's broadcast, liking, subscribing, following, doing all of the things that you do week in and week out. Chatting, of course, you're entertaining as always. Thank you so much for being here. Until next time, though, have a good night.